Alright, so we're gonna get into it. So I'm going to be talking about a lot of things today about MengLong. Things that I find interesting. I'm going to talk about his contract. I'm going to talk about his autopsy. I'm going to talk about his missing body, his abuse. I'm going to talk about things that I think are, weird. Things I do think are real about the case. Things I don't think are, real about the case. We're going to be covering everything, a lot of things today. Bear with me too. I'm so sorry. I also should let you know that I do have a bit of ADHD, so if I tend to jump back and forth from stuff, I'm so sorry. I'm really trying. So I'm gonna go on and read. I'm just gonna do a summary of what happened that night, what I've been seeing in chats and whatnot. So let's get on with that one. So on the night of the 8th, 17 criminals gathered at a villa where they drugged and injected MengLong. In the early hours of the 8th, Yu tried to escape and call the police, but he was caught and restrained by them. A related video exists. The villa was the first crime scene. On the 9th, the torture continued. During this time, Yu may have obtained a USB drive either to bargain for his life or because he discovered its existence. The criminals demanded that he hand over the USB, and it is possible that he swallowed it. They then began torturing him by suspending him upside down, which you can hear his screams in the video that was released. So after enduring a whole day of abuse, by nightfall he was barely alive and was thrown from the building. This moment was captured by paparazzi. The 6th floor became the second crime scene. On the morning of the 10th, because Yu had not died from the fall and was still lying on the grass, they dragged him back into the building. Hallway surveillance footage confirms this. They once again threatened him to hand over the video, but he refused. At this point, they summoned a private doctor to cut open his abdomen, and Yu died during the procedure. They then wrapped gauze around his stomach, and on the 5th floor, they dressed him in clean clothes that had been prepared in advance. It was later revealed that the 6th, 5th, 4th, and 3rd floors were all under their control. Afterwards, in the early hours of the morning, they began moving the body in order to stage a fake fall from the building. The 5th floor thus became the third crime scene. At 5:15 a.m. on the 11th, a photo was taken showing Yu's abdomen wrapped in gauze. His broken thigh unnaturally folded, signs of rigor mortis already present and bleeding from the head. His first fall had him land head first. To further disfigure him, they smashed his face with stones. The paparazzi who had been hiding nearby immediately leaked the news. The criminals then turned on each other, exposing one another. Here, they refers to the criminals, and he refers to MengLong. So what I just read right there was a post that's been that I've been seeing all over, posts about MengLong so far. And some of them I didn't even realize had happened. I'm going to be talking about sensitive topics in this. If you guys don't want to listen, I totally understand. I will let you know ahead of time before I start talking about those topics. So if you do want to click off, I will understand. But, the reality of this case is very disturbing. And it's disgusting. But this is what someone possibly went through before he died, before they died. So I don't think I should skip over the nasty parts. It wouldn't be fair. Now, that being said, if anybody's ever gone live, can you please tell me how I can view comments on this? Because I just don't know how to do that. Okay, so one of the questions I had was, is his body really missing? All I found about his body was that his body was cremated quickly after the 12 to 24-hour investigation. Now, a lot of people found this was suspicious because his mom never said his mom never saw the body before it was cremated. So that's definitely suspicious to me. Also, there was a case of the missing autopsy, right? There's no official detailed forensic autopsy that reports have been publicly released. All they said was that, he self-exited. There's no official autopsy. So my question was like, how do people know what happened to his body if there weren't any police report, like any official police autopsy or police reports? There's only been like a screenshot of a perforated autopsy report from the Beijing Shenteng Forensic Appraisal Center, which has been circulated widely. And this is the one that they say is like unofficial, like it's not real. This report details extensive injuries, including multiple fractures, organ damage, missing teeth, and signs of SA, that some forensic analysis claim are inconsistent with a fall from that height. So that's like the unofficial autopsy, but like, you know, it's not the official autopsy. Yes. Moving along. So here's an interesting fact that I want you guys to remember about the labeling of floors in China that I found out. And let me just point out, a lot of this information I did get from Rotten Mango. I don't know if any of you guys know her, but her name is Stephanie Sue on YouTube. She's an amazing reporter. I'll call her reporter. She finds out information about cases and she explains them in extensive detail, guys. And she did talk about MengLong on one of them. That video, you guys, it's like there's two videos, but there's, you know, the first one is like 1 hour and 28 minutes. The second one is 2 hours and 28 minutes. So they're long videos, okay? So what I would suggest is like watching those, because she does talk about MengLong, and you know, she gets into it. She gets definitely into it. And a lot of my information I did get from her, so I picked up pieces of it that I felt were interesting. And another person, I think her page is called Dark Asia with Megan or something. I think that's the name of it. But she's amazing too. She covered this case in extensive depth too. So I think you guys should definitely look up them. And that's where some of my sources are coming from. That, and I did look up online too. So I'm just gonna let you know where I got my information from. So a lot of buildings in China don't have a 4th floor due to a superstition, right? The number 4 is considered unlucky because the pronunciation of 4 is very similar to the word for death in Mandarin and Chinese. So that I did get from Megan. Actually, no, I got that from Stephanie. I'm sorry. I got it from Stephanie. So I thought that was very interesting. I'm like, okay, that is very interesting. So even though technically he did fall from the 6th floor, but seeing as there is no 4th floor, the 6th floor is the 5th floor. So just keep that in mind, okay? Now, I'm gonna be talking about his autopsy. It is sensitive. If you guys want to click off, go ahead. I'm not gonna judge or nothing. But you know, this is the unofficial report, the one that, you know, everybody's saying is, you know, not real. But I hope it's not real. But you know, we're gonna go ahead and read it anyways, because we're just gonna be covering everything today. So his in the unofficial autopsy, there were multiple fractures on the left side of his chest. There was internal bleeding and damage to internal organs such as liver lacerations. There was scalp trauma, suggesting pulling of the hair. He had a broken nose, and all but one of the bottom teeth were missing. There was evidence of SA and severe genital tears. And before you guys try to ask, like, if he was gay, he wasn't. He was completely straight. Now this is like my own thoughts right here. If I was like, you know, like a gay male, if I was doing that, I would have like some type of like, you know, protection down there. There's no reason why there should be like severe tears down there. If there, you know, the severe tears does make sense if, you know, he was in fact, you know, SA'd. I'm sorry, I just had to get that out the way and say that. Also, the report also said that there was multiple DNA found inside of him. And I cried when I read that. I was like, oh my gosh, so that does, like, you know, it does, you know, explain, you know, like it's putting it into perspective. Okay, more on the autopsy. They said that there were multiple bruises in different stages of healing too, which does suggest that the injuries happened over time and not all at once. There are even mentions of deep pressure marks on his wrists and ankles, which suggests he was restrained. But the most shocking was claims of a sedative and tranquilizing substance were found in his system, which explains why he couldn't defend himself. This is a lot to take in, but you know. Okay, we're done with the autopsy now. Because I'm done with that. I just decided to cover that one first because that's the most, you know, it's a sad topic to have to talk about. Now, can I talk about the location of where his body was found? Like, when I first saw the original photo, right? The photo when he was first found, I think we all have seen it by now, right? Was it just me, or was it moved? Because I know he was thrown out the window twice, and I read that somewhere, but I feel when his body was found, it was placed at, like, a different location. Because the window, we've all seen the building, right? The window, it's not right above the entrance, which is where his body was found. The window is like on the side. So like, how did his body get to the side? I mean, if he fell from the window, his body should fall right below the window, like on the side, not in the center where, you know, people can find him. That was just like me, though. Now I want to read off a couple. We're gonna get onto the interviews right now. Now, these are a few interviews from residents that lived at the Sunshine Shandong residential complex. I think I said that right. That like really helped me to decide that yes, he was killed. Like, he didn't just off himself. Like, it's just so obvious that he didn't just, like, you know, off himself. And this info was also from Rotten Mango. I'm gonna keep on saying it until I'm blue in the face. Go check her page out after this. She does explain that case in you know, great depth. So, and I like the way she, you know, she did it. Like, she just is like really amazing. Okay, so many neighbors reported hearing screaming and fighting all night long, leading up to MengLong's death. Right? Some people even said that they knew he was at an event, but there was a lot of screaming, which was very strange for their building. There was lots of threats being screamed, and then when they wake up the next morning, they hear that the actor is dead. I mean, it had to be connected. So they want justice, right? And that came from an actual neighbor, you guys. The screaming, the fighting, that came from actual neighbors that were living in the building. Like, I saw the like the reporter, like the lady, like she was saying that. Those neighbors also commented on how easy it is to hear through the walls. So paper thin walls. Also, when reporters tried to hold on-site interviews, almost all the residents shut down. They refused to speak. Also, the main action that sealed the deal for me was when the building denied access to any surveillance footage that they could have had. That made people think that they either were threatened with violence or like paid off. But that's just speculation. That's the most annoying part of this case, is everything is just speculation. But you know what? Something that's reliable to me is, like, you know, people, like, they said that to the reporters right then, like right after that happened. So like, why would they lie? I mean, do you have screaming and fighting at normal parties? I mean, you might get into it or whatever. It ends like in a fight or something, but this was happening all night long, and then the next morning they see you know, you was dead. Like, come on now. And then the window. Another thing that sealed the deal for me was, like, the window that he supposedly jumped from. There were a couple of official interviews from the neighbors on the windows that he fell out of. And one lady said, and I quote verbatim, because I saw her actually, you know, in the report. She said, they said he fell from the 5th floor And that's a pretty short distance, right? She said she had stood there watching for a very long time, because how does someone fall from the 5th floor and pass away? On the window, guys, there's like a metal net, not easy to break through. She said there were lots of cops up there too, trying to reenact what had happened, and they were puzzled too. And that really sealed the deal for me. Like, if they couldn't even figure out, the cops couldn't even figure out what happened, then like, and then they released a report that, you know, right after that it said, like, you know, it was a self-exit. I'm getting a little ahead of myself though. I'm sorry for my silence. I'm still trying to figure this out. I'm sorry, I'm like sitting right next to my window. Okay, now I'm gonna move on to things that I don't think happened. Okay, I'm sorry. Hopefully you guys don't get mad at me for saying this, but it's just my opinion. Keep that in mind. So, the videos of massive crowds marching in the streets holding signs for MengLong, I don't think those are real. I'm sorry. Because I would see comments under those videos stating that was from blank holiday that just happened recently. And then I'd look closer, right? And see that even cops are marching with the crowd. So I'm like, oh yeah, that definitely would not be, you know, for MengLong. Because think about it, guys. A lot of people in China don't even know this happened, because they censored the crap out of this case. So, like, why would there be millions of people marching in the street for MengLong? So, I don't believe that the marches like that are happening on such a massive scale. You know, unfortunately, maybe we might get there someday, but I don't think we're there right now. And I'm sorry, I'm actually having a hard time believing that there is a USB. At least one that was on him in that moment. Because, like, if you think about it, why on earth would he show up to an event with a device that houses such damning information? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, it just doesn't. I'm sorry. You'd literally be like how would that even come up in discussion? Like, you're supposed to be going to a party, right? And then suddenly there's a USB with damning information on it. Like, I just don't know. I don't think the USB is real. I don't know. It's just too little information for me. Maybe there is, but there's just not. Why would it be on him then and there? Like, no. And I also don't believe he was forced to wear shoes that were too big as punishment / neglect. Now, I know we've seen pictures of him wearing shoes that are too big for him, but a lot of idols / actors were made to wear shoes that were a little too big to protect their feet, because they would be standing for long periods of time. Same with traveling. And I got that information because I remember looking it up one day, because I was like, why is this one, you know, idol that I see, he always wears big shoes or whatever? And that was the explanation that they gave. And, you know, it makes sense. It does make sense. Because, you know, if you are standing for long periods of time, you know, you're signing autographs, you know, and you have shoes that fit, maybe that, you know, your feet might get swollen or something. They do wear two sizes up, you know, to protect their feet. But that's just the explanation that I got, and that was like maybe like a few years ago. I think maybe it was for like Jungkook or something, because I see him dancing in these big Timberland boots. And sometimes, you know, like I've seen Wang Yibo wear shoes that are a little too big for him. Same with Xiaojan and Knowles. It seems like a common thing for all people, you know. Everybody. It seems like they all do that. So, I don't think it was like necessarily to, you know, to punish him or neglect him. It's just a normal thing that they do. So I just wanted to explain that to you guys. If you do think it's neglect, and you know, that is definitely you can definitely think that, but that's just me. I just don't think that. I also don't believe that the dogs were there at the time he died. One of the videos of him being tortured, you could hear MengLong say, "Fully is here to save me." But guys, I found a video disproving that line. I tried to find that video again, but I just could not find it. But if I did, I would repost it to my page. I do repost a lot of stuff that I think will be fundamental to you guys. So I do repost a lot of stuff to my page so that you guys can see it. But I tried to find that video again, I just couldn't find it. But if I do, I will repost it, I promise. Because you could hear him say, like, I saw like a side by side, and it showed him like on a show or something saying, "Fuli's here to save me." And then you could hear that same audio over the video of him being tortured. Now, I know full well that there's like, you know, reports or people saying that, you know, they could easily take a real video of his torture and, you know, put a audio over it so that people could be like, "Oh, this is fake because this part here is from this video." I do with all my heart believe that the torture video is real. I just believe that the dog is like, you know, what do they call it, like a distraction, you know, used to, like, you know, be like, "Oh, if we find, like, maybe put like this one little thing in there, they could say that the whole thing's fake." But I just found that, you know, that part was not real. They tried to put that into his real, you know, torture video. So I don't believe that the dogs were there when he died. So I'm sorry. And another thing, I also don't believe he was signaling for help in his videos. I'm so sorry. Like, I know I just feel like the signage wasn't clear to me. Like, if you see like those videos, like they say like the 414 or whatever, then the signal for help, like, I just didn't feel like he was signing that. Like, it just was not clear. I mean, he had his hand over his face. It was natural, you know, like when he's shy or something. It just wasn't clear to me. I'm sorry. I don't know if anybody else felt like that, but I felt like that, so. If you hear me go quiet, it's because I'm still trying to figure this out. Like, this is just really sad. Like, well, that's just one of the things I don't believe was. I don't believe that he was signing. Maybe he didn't even know about the signing thing. Like, you know, you can do hand gestures in your videos, and that it would be, you know, that you could signal for help. But just to me, like, it just wasn't clear enough for me. Now, I don't believe that his teeth were missing before he was killed either. Now, the video I'm talking about is from a scene in a show where you can see his teeth. His bottom row is just hidden. Like, you know, I watched the full clip, right? It's where he's like screaming out, and you can get a close in on his mouth, and it's like two lines on the side, and then you know, you don't see any bottom teeth. But I saw the full video of that, and his bottom teeth did come into view, and he's got beautiful teeth, I must say. So, at least I'm disproving, you know, his teeth were removed before, you know, as punishment, or like, you know, as in torture before he was dead. The teeth missing could also be like if he was thrown from the 5th floor. That could be, you know, like if he fell head first, his teeth would probably be missing. Like, you know, I don't think you'd be coming away with a full smile from that fall either. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm sorry, but just the fall alone definitely could cause some, you know, trauma. Let's just say that. But his teeth were all there in that clip. That people have been trying to say, like, "Oh, he was, you know, he was like, is abused." No, not in that one. He wasn't. So, now we get on to the things I do believe happened. Now, I do believe that some people in China put up his pictures up on the LED billboards. I did repost a video of that one to my page. So you guys can go take a look at that. But I know that China's been trying to, like, you know, well, not China, I'm gonna say the leaders, they've been trying to scrub the internet of him. But I did see his pictures up in like a mall. It looked like a mall right by the Godiva chocolate. That one I do believe that that's real. Now I did start to think more on the USB, like at this point that I'm writing this. Like if MengLong did happen to bring up the fact that he had a USB on him that held incriminating evidence against the higher ups, and Fang Shiqi, I think that's how you say his name, was there, then it would totally make sense as to why he would be shouting "spit it out." So I was thinking a little bit harder on that. Like, you know what? It might be possible that there was a USB there. That definitely creates motive for Fang Shiqi. I think that's how you say his name. I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong. Now the next question I would have would be, why did MengLong choose to bring such a device with him, and why reveal it then and there? And I'm gonna answer my own question. It's gonna be because I thought him and Shiqi were friends. Think about it. He only has his parents and himself. You barely even hear about his father. I'm sorry. I personally thought he was dead. I thought his dad was dead because I just never hear about him. I'm sorry. But that was just my thought for the USB. Like, it could be real. Like he could, like, there definitely could have been a USB there. I know I said I didn't believe there was a USB, but and Fang Shiqi, isn't he related to Xi Jinping or something like that? Like, he would feel the need to like protect his family, or you know, like, if that is, I thought that was his family. I thought a lot of people related in this case. I can't really remember who, but I know that he was related to like one of the higher ups. And if MengLong, you know, has like incriminating evidence and he revealed that to him, he might, you know, family over friends at the end of the day. It can be a family over friends type situation, you know. It would definitely provide him with a motive. Fang Shiqi. I hate saying his name, God. But anyways, you know, he revealed it to him because they were friends. Makes sense, you know. I guess they weren't really friends at the end of the day. I mean, we all saw that post of his. I don't know if we saw it, but I did see like a screenshot of it, saying, you know, he thought he was the most handsome or something, some bullshit. I don't have that with me today. I would repeat it verbatim, but I haven't gotten to that stage yet. So I am talking about a lot of things, but that's not one of them today. So when I do get that information, I'll share it with y'all. Rest assured, and by the next live, I'll be able to have the chat up. Now, here's a couple side notes that I was thinking of. If the building refused access to surveillance, then that footage is good as deleted. I'm sorry. The only evidence left would be from the neighbors that happened to record what happened on their phones or devices. Now, what I always suggest to the people that do have evidence, still, like, keep it hush hush. Back it up to other multiple devices. Never give away the original copy. Also, try to get a copy of the evidence to, like, I was gonna say the opposing party of the CCP. I forgot his name. Man, I forgot his name. I was just looking it up too recently. It's like Zhang something or another. Yuxia or Yoshi or something like that. Also, the comments are working. Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, what happened broke my heart too. I was like, had a full-on princess moment, like when I first heard, like just bawling on my bed, like not even lying. It was just tragic. And you know, at first I was like, who is MengLong? Because I didn't put two and two together, because I did see him in Eternal Love, and I loved him as a fourth brother, right? But I didn't know that it was MengLong. So when I first saw Stephanie Sue's, I usually watch her channel, but I kind of, you know, stopped watching because like it's very dark topics, and I was just like, you know, I gotta be in the mood to watch that kind of stuff. I did see her post about MengLong, like you know, in the thumbnail. But I was like, okay, MengLong. I didn't know who he was until I finally, like, you know, about a month later, decided to watch Dark Asia with Megan, because I was like, oh, let me just watch this. And I'm like, oh, MengLong. And she said he played the fourth brother in Eternal Love. I'm like, oh my god, I watched that show and I loved him so much in it. But I didn't know who he was, of course, you know. He was just fourth brother to me, but I just loved his character in that so much. Like I just fell in love with him in that show. But I didn't know who he was, so. But then it really like put it in perspective to me, like who he was. I'm like, oh my god, like that's him. So then I started getting really much into his case, you know, looking into it and watching every video I could find about him. And it just like broke my heart. But yeah, hearing the auto made me sick to my stomach. Like I just want to like throw up. I can't every time I come across the video now I just have to like mute it. Like it's just yeah, the two dolls. I don't even know really about the two dolls. Now, getting back to the backup devices on, you know, if the neighbors, they do have it, they're probably the only ones that have it by now. Like I was saying, they definitely back it up. Never give away the original. And I was saying, give it to the opposing party of the CCP. His name is Zhang Yuxia. I said that before, but then I looked up who Zhang Yuxia was, and I found that he's like a close ally of Xi Jinping. And I got that information from Liana. She also does videos here for MengLong, and she had suggested that they try to get in contact with Zhang Yuxia. But I did my own research. I'm like, no, definitely don't give it to him because he's a close ally to Xi Jinping. What I would do is I would send that information, those copies, to Amnesty International. That's what I would do, guys. Send it to Amnesty International. Send it to the Human Rights Organization. We do what's it called? The AVAS. It's almost there. It's at 700,000 right now. It's climbing. We're gonna get there someday, soon, I believe. When we get there, I would suggest that we all reach out to them. We give them like if you do have like any videos of his torture or, you know, anything, I would give it to them, because then they can like confirm it. They can give it to the FBI, see if any of those videos are actually real, you know, because obviously the Chinese government isn't, you know, trying to see if those videos are real, because they probably are. But this will just confirm it, you know. This will be like, yes, this is in fact real. So give it to the Amnesty International, and they can decipher, like, you know, if it's real or not. I'm gonna get into Amnesty International and the AVAS and what they can do to help MengLong, okay? But I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I'll take it down a notch. But yeah, submit the evidence to FBI or Human Rights Organization. Now, I do believe that there are gatherings, but on a much smaller scale. Because like I said before, a lot of China doesn't know what happened because of the censorship. So that's what I would definitely tell. I do believe that the small marches, I do see like small marches of, you know, like maybe 50 people in the streets, like, you know, with his signs and whatnot. I do believe those are real. But I don't believe the big massive ones with the millions of followers are real. So because like I said, a lot of people don't know about MengLong and what happened. All they know is that his name has been censored, and you can't even look up factors of the case. I have a Weibo, guys. I can't even mention his name. I got my account restricted twice. I don't care though. I'm gonna keep on mentioning his name and pissing off those people. And I know I commented on She's page too. Oh, what did I say? I said some good shit. I said you can run, but you can't hide. And I was like, he's definitely the most beautiful. He hasn't commented back on anything, obviously. He hasn't made any posts. He hasn't posted much since the incident, and neither has that Song Yi-ren. She hasn't posted at all since that incident. Apparently, she's supposedly in a mental institution somewhere, supposedly. And they're wearing like those charms on their wrists or whatever, you know. Supposedly. Okay, the next topic I'm going to discuss, guys, is his abuse If you guys don't want to listen to this, I understand. But like I said, I think we should stay, and I think I should cover it because, you know, this is part of the case. This, you know, does provide some explanation as to, you know, well, to me anyways, but. And of course, this is just alleged. But even with them saying all this is just alleged, a picture is worth 1,000 words, as I say. Even if everything is alleged, so. You can see the bruises. You can see it. Like, you can say it. You can see it. People that have been abused, you can tell if they're abused. Like, you can just tell. Like, they don't need to say it. You could just tell. So, in 2 years, he went to the hospital 17 times. Can you believe it? Like, and the reasoning behind that was that it is believed that every time he would try to reach out for help, his handlers, as I'll say, and not even his managers, I'm going to say his handlers, they would find out and then they would punish him by beating him. That part was like, really, oh my gosh. That just shows you, like, how much power he didn't have. Like, wow. Like, sometimes I just can't believe, like, what I'm reading here. That's alleged, obviously. Now, another TikToker whose video I saw made an interesting point. His name is K Brooks. I also tagged his video, or I reposted, so you guys can watch that later. He made an interesting point, right? His name, he said that in order to keep MengLong silent and talking about the thing silent and not talking about the things he went through, one would have to have a lot of people around him to keep him quiet and make sure that he doesn't tell people what is happening to him. You'd have to have everyone that is in his immediate circle in on it, right? Even the policemen in the area that he resides in are all bought off. That's actually what happened. Which actually makes sense to me. Every single location in this case that we've uncovered so far, each suspect owns / controls it. Like, if you think about it. K. Brooks also mentioned how he believes that Police Chief Bibo is in on it, seeing as he controls the area where MengLong was found dead. He also said even still there is no proper police report at the moment. There is a police report on MengLong jumping and self-exiting, but there is no actual police report of what happened that night. The investigation is still ongoing. Of course, K. Brooks made that video a month ago, but I thought it was an honorable mention. So I thought you guys should know about that. Just think about that. Like, everything. Like, it would make sense as to, like, that one message that we saw. He said that, I think he said it to his mom, like, he's being watched constantly. That would explain, like, you know, his abuse, like, to keep him silent. You know, that would make sense to me. Like, it totally makes sense. Him saying that would definitely make sense too, with, you know, like, when he said he was controlled and he couldn't say nothing. That would make sense to me. Now, this is another side note. I don't know if I should say this because it might be speaking out of turn, but I'm, like, mad at his parents. I'm sorry. I think I'm just gonna skip over that part. Maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. Should I skip over that part, guys? Because I had a whole thing like I'm personally mad at his parents. Okay, I'm sorry to speak out of line, but if I had a child and there was information coming out to prove that my son's death wasn't a natural one, I'd be looking into the case. Even if all the news was alleged, I'd still be looking for more information, like reaching out to neighbors of the Sunshine Apartments complex and secretly trying to get the word out to the public. But they're just silent. Like, this is just, like, it's just making me mad. Like, they're just silent about it. Like, the parents aren't saying nothing. Like, I know, maybe his mom, let me stop, his mom, we did see a video of her. I don't know if it was his mom, but they're saying it's his mom. She was like begging at the Tianyu media corporate office or something. Like, you could hear her, like, asking for justice. So she is doing something. And then there was like another, like, what's it called? I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. She came out with like a letter. The first one was saying, like, you know, she believed the police, that, you know, like, she did self-exit, that type of thing. And there was a second letter that allegedly, of course it's alleged, that it was alleged that she made, like saying like, I don't believe that my son died, self-exit. I believe he was murdered. I did see that. I hope that was real. But someone commented on my post talking about, why would you believe that second one? Like the lady said that she doesn't believe that he was murdered. Why wouldn't you take her at her word? Because I said, because there was videos of her on her knees crying, begging them to reopen the case. And then there was another letter that she came out with. So like you could see the video. Like there was an actual video of her. I think it was her. Like I could barely really see her, but there was a video of her allegedly. I mean, it would make sense to me. Now, to move on from that, I feel like some of the videos that have come out are in fact AI, but it's used for the intention of illustrating visually what happened during torture. Like for example, when like in a video there's a poster that claimed to hear you crying, and he was like hiding in the building, and you hear them calling up MengLong. I'm sorry, but even with the volume up, I couldn't hear a peep. I reposted that video to my page, so you guys can watch that too, and take a look and see if you think that's real. Because, like, yeah, I just don't think it's real. But that's just me. Now, let's address the video that you recorded apparently. Hold on one second. Okay, so there's a video that you recorded on his phone, right? The one where they say you see a flash of red hair. I didn't see a flash of red hair. I'm sorry. I didn't see a flash of red hair. I heard dogs screaming in the background though. I did hear that. But I just didn't see no red hair. I saw a figure at the end though. It was creepy. But I didn't see any red hair. And they're saying that that's Cow, whatever his name is. I forgot his name. I'm sorry. But I didn't see any red hair in that video. I just didn't see it. I don't even know if the guy was there or not. But they're saying he was there. And we all saw his messages which he had with Hairong, or whatever her name is, the billionaire that allegedly killed her husband. But I just didn't see any red hair, any flash in that. I think I reposted that to my page too, so you guys can look at that too. If there's any doubts in your mind, like if you ever feel like you see these videos, right, of him and his torture, and if they say that there's something in there but you just don't see it, you're probably right, guys. Don't try to like gaslight yourself and just trying to feel like you will see this, because like I'm not gonna gaslight myself into seeing something if it's not there and if I'm not seeing it. And I didn't see no red hair. I didn't even see any red clothing in that video that I could say was like, oh yeah, that's him. No, I just saw him, the guy running through the halls, MengLong, whimpering, crying, that you can hear the dogs too. It's just creepy ass video. I felt bad for him. But I didn't see any red hair. So let's move along. Yeah, I don't know why I put this point twice, but I think I'm gonna drive it back in. Okay, I think that the people who still have videos of that night should submit those videos to Amnesty International and the FBI in America, but mostly to Amnesty International and the Human Rights. Amnesty International is human rights, though. They're the biggest human rights organization in the world, so I think people get those mixed up. They're both the same thing. Now, let's move on to what can Amnesty International do to help. And I did repost this video up on my page too. There's this guy, he's Chinese. He talks about what Amnesty International can do to help. And I don't think a lot of you guys know this, but this is what the guy said. In reality, we can't actually go to China and fight back against a public party. That's impossible. The pressure and damage inflicted on the CCP by public opinion war can sometimes exceed that of an actual war. After reaching 500,000 today, Amnesty International, the world's largest human rights organization, began speaking out on behalf of MengLong. Now, let me interject. I did fact check that. I did look at their page. They did say something about him, but that was like the Chinese Amnesty International, which is just as good, if you ask me. Now back to what he said. He said some have asked if this organization can do anything against/to the CCP. He said, let me give you an example. This organization won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1977. I fact-checked that. He is correct, it did. Other organizations that have shared the prize with it include the United Nations, UNHCR, and the International Red Cross, guys. Now this gives you an idea of the weight of the world's largest human rights organization. In fact, it publishes an annual human rights report which causes the CCP to suffer substantial losses. I think what he meant was it could cause the CCP to suffer substantial losses. And then he says, let me explain this. In mainland China, all businesses, regardless of industry, are extremely afraid of appearing on a list called the CCTV's 315. This is a blacklist. If you appear on it, your sales for that year could be cut in half, and some businesses could even go bankrupt. Actually, I learned that one automaker was about to be on this list. Do you know how much they spent to get it removed? It cost 5 million RMB, which translates to 706,175 US dollars, guys. That's a lot just to get removed, though. Now, I'm gonna say this myself, like, if the CCP can just remove their names from the list, we need to keep on putting them on that fucking list, bro. Excuse my language, but we need to keep on getting them on that list, bro. Now, he goes on to say Amnesty International also has a similar international report called the International Human Rights Report, which it publishes annually. In China, they are afraid of being on it, so besides reputational damage, can they actually take action against them? And the answer is yes, they can. Real money, tens of billions of dollars. Okay, now let's get on to the AVAS and what they can do to help. Because they're separate in and themselves, separate from the Amnesty International. Now, what happens after a petition gains signatures? What can the AVAS do to help? Delivery to the target. Now, once a petition has enough signatures, AVAS delivers the list to the intended recipient, who can be a government official, a CEO, or another decision maker. The delivery is accompanied by a list of every signer, including their name, city, and country. Oh, called out. Now, the next step is creation of public pressure. The act of delivering a petition with many signatures can create public pressure on the decision maker to respond or act. This can make it more difficult for them to ignore the public outcry. Third step, amplification of the message. AVADs may use various methods, from publicly releasing information to quietly distributing materials to relevant people to ensure the petition's message is heard and understood. Now, like, this is me speaking like myself, like, I wonder who would that be to in China, because so many officials are involved in this case, remember? Even Xi Jinping himself is said to be involved with this. They would need to use extreme measures to get the message out. Definitely, like, there'd definitely be a challenge. Okay. Next step, potential for political or policy impact. By creating pressure and increasing public awareness, a successful AVAS petition has the potential to influence the outcome of a decision or event, as shown in the example of a petition on cluster bombs that helped prevent a treaty to allow their stockpiling. Other outcomes. It is important to note that not all petitions result in a direct change, as the ultimate outcome depends on many factors, but a large number of signatures ensures the issue is visible and can influence the conversation around it. So, guys, Don't get your hopes up too high, but, you know, get them up. But, you know. Now, I'm gonna make my own little interjection here. But when petitions don't work, that's when, this is my opinion, that's when the people should band together and march for freedom from oppression. I'm sorry, but, like, I'm just gonna say that. I am American. Maybe that's, like, you know, like, we do march over here, so. I want everybody to keep in mind, though, that America wasn't always, like, free. Like, we started off with barely any rights over here, too, but we fought for a lot of our freedom. That's why in our national anthem it states, "Land of the free and home of the brave." Our ancestors fought for our equal rights, and, you know, we are continuing to fight for our freedom. But here in America, we also believe in fighting for the freedom of others. That is a good point. Like even African American, we fought for our freedoms too, you know. We fought for a lot of our freedoms, for a lot of our rights. And then when they might be looking down on us, but like, hey, they always marching for something, they're always like suing or something. That's because we fought for those rights to be able to like speak up for ourselves, to be able to, like, you know, if something is not going the way that we feel like it should, like in terms of freedom wise, we're gonna stand up and we're gonna march. We're gonna, like, you know, peaceful protests. I know China's done it like on a smaller scale, but like it would be nicer if like more people got out and did it. But like, you know, everybody has to care enough about to do it. You know, everybody has to care. That's why, like, I'm suggesting to the people of China, like, stand up and fight. It'll only get worse and keep going on. If those evil officials get away with a case like this, that reached even the farthest parts of the world, then those evil officials will truly believe that they are untouchable. But they're not. They're really not. Like, I've seen kings and queens be brought down by their people. The CCP can definitely be brought down too. But the people themselves need to stand up and fight. If all of China stands up, they will win. But if they don't know, of course, they can't fight, which the CCP is censoring his case probably because of that. But the petition will definitely help spread the word, guys. Here's some thoughts of mine. Not in terms to the petition, but I've been thinking about like how they've been erasing a lot of, like, you know, they've been scrubbing the internet of MengLong and stuff. I was like, even if those people covered up what they said, we all know that once you say something on the internet, it will never go away. Which means if someday they choose to reopen his case, they do have the means to uncover deleted messages. It's called it's a digital trail, guys. That's what it's called. If the right people take over his case and were to do their job of getting justice, they could uncover the truth. Even with our FBI here, you know, in murder cases, they try to delete information, they try to delete their messages, but the FBI can't uncover those. Guys, it's never gone. Even if they do delete they try to cover, they can't cover forever. And that's just the truth of the matter. Even on if they try to take a USB and delete all that information, the FBI can come in and you know, get it back. And that's good. Okay, so more ways the AVETs can help. They organize offline actions like rallies, marches, and symbolic stunts to draw media attention. And I was like, can they organize that in China? Because what's the point of doing that here in America? They need to do that stuff in China. Funds campaigns. They provide funding for campaign and direct actions to help them succeed. They also advocate for policy changes. Through its various campaigns, AVES advocates for policy changes on issues ranging from climate change and human rights to corporate accountability. They also engage governments and corporations. AVES works to influence both government and corporate decisions through targeted pressure and advocacy. Now, I did have a thought on that last one, though. Let me read it to you. if it's the Chinese government behind this, how are they gonna get the word out, like especially to the people? Because they did hold rallies here in America. I'm trying to think of a way that they can get the word out to the people of China. And I was thinking about the monks, bro. They're morally upright, and they will stand up for what's right. Now let me insert another thought here. You know, you guys heard about Monk Xiu Fang? I'm sorry, I think I'm saying his name right. He was said to have been murdered by Long's company too. Maybe he found out about what was going on and they silenced him. That was just like a thought. I'm sorry. But in terms of getting the word out, they might be a great place to start if they hang up posters for MengLong or even advocate on his behalf. The people will listen, and then the monks can fight for justice. That was just my thought. Like, you know, hey, you could start there with the monks. So guys, when the petition reaches 1 million signatures, what I would do is reach out to the AVAS and Amnesty and tell them to start with spreading the word to like monks. Provide proof to, yeah, definitely, like I was saying before, I'm just gonna keep on saying it. Like, if any of the Chinese people have like videos of that night, like the neighbors, if they have recordings still, if the police didn't get to them and, you know, force them to erase what, you know, they said, or erase the evidence, you could easily give that device to like a FBI or something, and they could easily recover that. Because what I said before, the internet today, things are never really gone. Never. Even if you erase and delete it, it's never gone. There's always a digital trail. There's always traces of stuff. Okay, we're keeping moving along though. No, I thought this was an honorable mentions. These ones next here. I'm gonna tell you these are from Rotten Mango because I just love her. Stephanie Sue. Hold on one second. Okay, so during the morning when they had found MengLong, right? There was MengLong, sorry. There was an older woman there that had spoken to a reporter, and what she had said really shocked me because, like, she had said that she saw the paparazzi man post online. The police have ruled out a criminal case, but the specific cause of death is still under investigation. You know what that means? Is like, it means that the cops released that information to the press even though they themselves didn't have a clue. That's what actually happened, or someone told / ordered them to say that. That's suspicious to me. Like, how could you like rule out a criminal case, but you don't have a specific cause of death? Like, what? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, if you don't have an actual answer, you can't say it's, you know, you can't say it's not something for sure. You can't say it's not criminal if, you know, you don't even know the cause of death. And the old woman also said she had noticed a bunch of cops inside the apartment, right? In part, yeah, sorry. It's late at night. She had noticed a bunch of cops inside the apartment in question. And she noticed that they were like moving around a lot. They're trying to reenact all sorts of motions as if they're trying to simulate what motion was the most plausible and what could have happened. And one motion was one cop standing in front of the window, and the other one kicks him very hard from behind, simulating kicking from out of like the window. And from what she could tell from downstairs was the most plausible. So the cops were basically like, you know, going through the different motions of like what could have been happening for him to be pushed out that window. Because we've all heard about the window, right? Like, apparently that window was hard to, you know, get out of. Had metal mesh on there. And this takes me back to my childhood because, like, I'm 32, excuse me. I turned 32 yesterday. Happy birthday to me. But still, like, this takes me back to my childhood when on the windows there was like the metal mesh, right? And you could not move that metal mesh for nothing. Even kids couldn't. You couldn't even. I could punch it and I wouldn't even, like, rip it at all. It's made to be safe. Like I don't know if you guys know if you guys have ever seen metal mesh, on windows, but you're not getting out of that. That's what the police were, like, trying to figure out, like, how did he get out of the window? Like, how did he break the window? Like, how did he get out the window? You'd have to have a knife to cut the shit. Like, it's just not easy. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's just not easy. And then there were marks and scratch marks outside the building, guys. And then we also saw a video of him hanging out of the building and screaming. That was like one of the torture videos. Like, you could see him. It was like dark, but you could see like the window. But you could see up in the upper, I believe it was the upper right corner. You could see like movement, and that's him actually hanging outside the window, guys. And you could hear him screaming. He was like, he was saying, what was he saying? He was saying, you've been trying to play me since, like, I was, like, little or whatever. He said. He was saying some stuff. Like, he was saying some stuff. I forgot exactly what he was saying, but he was saying stuff. But yeah, there is video proof of that too, and I believe it. I do believe it with all my heart. I believe it. And then also a woman who lives there commented on a live video saying, even if I had a friend and he was drunk, I wouldn't worry about him falling because the window is high enough, the screen is strong enough. And that was an actual lady. I saw her saying it to a reporter, and I believe I reposted it on my page too. So, like, every video that I'm saying in this right today, I've reposted those videos, so you guys can go definitely take a look at it. Now, we're gonna get on to his contract. Okay, so he was signed with Tianyu Media, which has been notoriously known, in my opinion, to have slave-like terms. And wait till you hear what those terms were. The first one is a restrictive clause, which includes a priority renewal clause that requires you in this case to renew with Tianyu even if other offers were significantly below market value. This actually locked him into the agency. 2, high penalty fees. The penalty fee for breaking the contract was calculated to be around 200 million RMB, which translates to 28 million US dollars. Now, I heard a different opinion on, like, the penalty fee for, getting out of the contract. I don't know. I thought I heard like 500,000, but what I found was 28 million. So that's just like what I found. 3, management misconduct. I don't know if this next bit of information is true, but my source is Google, and it takes this information from other real sources, but it had an example of managerial misconduct, and this is what it had to say. His manager, Du Guang, reportedly signed an advanced distribution contract worth over 22.5 million yuan behind MengLong's back, forcing the actor to cover the resulting debt, which also led to alleged abuse. Now, I don't know how accurate that info is, but I wanted to talk about it, about a bit of info that had been bothering me. I read somewhere that in China, actors are actually looked down upon. Now, I looked up that question, are actors looked down upon in China? A man had an interesting response on Reddit. I'll post his response on my page for you, but I'll just read it to you, the response. Okay, this is what he said. He wasn't responding to me, but he was responding to another question that I had asked him about that, because apparently I'm not the only one that had that question. He said, there was never such perception in China. In ancient times, actors are considered lower class. Often they come from poor family to be trained as actors from young. In ancient times, people can go to take exams and being successful in life and work in the government as officials. But some professions and their families are not allowed. An actor and actress are one of them. Some of them do sell their bodies to be the concubine of rich family. As usual, prominent family will not allow actresses as a main wife. But you are linking the trade with the practice, which is incorrect. It is not a professional practice to sell bodies. It is more has to do with being poor, lower class, and materialistic, that some willing to sell their bodies. Furthermore, actor and actresses by profession is to make themselves pretty and handsome. Some even reach celebrity status just like today. Definitely that would attract many rich and powerful people willing to pay and find companies of these artists. As the same as today, some of these will reach wealth and reputation by their abilities and mastery of their arts, but of one that reached the epitome of the trade, there will be countless others whom doesn't just like in a ballet company. In the face of monetary temptation, these poor souls definitely have some that are willing to sell. But that was not the general perception of the trade in the past or now. And that's what he had to say about that. And I'm like, you know what? The part where he says, definitely that would attract many rich and powerful people willing to pay and find companies of these artists, that would make sense. As it would like prove that, you know, he was getting like, there were people in the industry that, you know, did like him, like higher ups, or like, you know, that they were interested in him and they're trying to like proposition him to sleep with them or whatever. That would prove that and explain that to me personally. And I was like, oh, that definitely would do it. Like, you know, for me, like it definitely does, you know, make sense. But explains it, like, you know, for poor people. And we know that MengLong came from a very, he wasn't poor, but he was poor, like poorer than like those people that, you know, that are, you know, in the industry. They can just pay, you know, to break their contract. He wasn't like, you know, like well off. His family was not well off. So they bring people in to, you know, proposition those people that are poor, you know, to help them get ahead in the industry. But MengLong didn't seem like he needed any of that help because he's just a really well-liked guy. And this is just my words too. Like I just feel like he's like they took advantage of that because he's not really well off. So I'd be like, oh, you know, we're gonna, you know, make him, you know, sleep with certain people in the company or whatever. But he wouldn't do it because, you know, he's a man of, you know, he's a man of his word. You know, he's not gay. I feel like even if he was gay, he wouldn't, you know, rely on those kind of means to get ahead. Like, he's just a really good guy. So, moving along. Now, this next one is via the Vision Times, the missed opportunities. Now, this talks about actress Yang Mi. This explains why she wasn't able to buy out his contract. And I don't know if this is accurate, but this is just what I found, guys. This is just what I found. It says Yang Mi attempted to sign Yu to her own agency with a much better offer. Example, 50-50 profit split and guaranteed leading roles. But TNU Media uses priority renewal rights to block the move. So apparently, as soon as she tried to sign him, they allegedly invoked their priority renewal clause, which was buried in his original 2013 contract, which effectively bound him to the company. So I did a little bit of the math myself, guys. If his original contract started in 2013 and it lasted for several years, it would have ended in 2020. So it's 2025 now. They probably would have tried to keep him for another 7 years. So he starred in Eternal Love in 2017 and it had 3 seasons. So it went from 2017 to 2021. He should have been free from his contract and free to sign with Yang Mi, right? And like I said, it's 2025 now, and most idol actors' contracts last at least 7 years. That's just what I've noticed. I've been through a lot of idol groups. You know, I've been interested in idols, and you know, BTS, EXO, everything. You know, a lot of their contracts they span for a span of 7 years. Some of them 5 years minimum, but most contracts they last for 7 years. There are contracts that are like from 7 to 10 years. I feel like that they use those for like the younger generation, and it makes sense because like if you think about it, they're younger. A lot of them they're starting out in school. They're still in school, you know. They need a little bit more time to, you know, to get their career going. So the 10-year contract would probably make more sense for younger people still in school. But that's just me. So if he was still alive, I feel like they would have kept him for another 2 more years in his contract. No, that's just me, personally. That's what I was thinking. Okay, I'm done with my spiel now. I've like covered everything that I wanted to cover today. There was other future topics I wanted to discuss, like his girlfriend and if she was real or not. And I also wanted to talk about the residents selling their apartments. I thought that was shady. And I also wanted to talk about the CCP. Like, how many people does the CCP need to lose in order to not be in power? And I wanted to see if like it was true that the CCP lost millions of followers after the MengLong incident. I also wanted to look into the Golden Rooster Brewers because I heard about that too. But I haven't done the research for that yet, so I didn't want to comment on it yet. But it said that his girlfriend was oh yeah, I also wanted to talk about how I don't think it was Song Ren that was there. It could have been her, but I also think it could have been his girlfriend too, because I've seen pictures of his girlfriend. I'm drawing a blank on her name too, I'm sorry. And her name is kind of hard to pronounce, but I feel like if you guys look at her picture, her hair is short too, guys. Like, she could have easily been the one recording that video. So Song Ren wasn't the only one with short hair. That's my point with that, with the girlfriend. She has short hair too. And to touch lightly on the residents selling their apartments, I heard that over 90 residents had sold their apartments at the Sunshine Apartments complex the day after that happened, the murder. Not the day after, but they did it right after that. Like 90 apartments went up for sale. It's like, bro, you know they heard something. Like, they must have heard something. Like, that's like a telltale sign of something did happen that night. And there was reports of like them being paid off or something too. Does any of you guys know about the CCP at all? Because if not, like, do you guys have any comments or questions? Because I've reached the end of my little discussion. So if you guys want to comment, that's great. Or I could go over it again if you want. To those of you that just joined recently, I probably should. But a lot of the videos that are discussed, I did repost them to my page. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this live today. I will be coming on again tomorrow to talk about it, because like I'm off for the next 5 days, so I'm gonna be talking about MengLong, discussing things with you guys. If you thought this was very interesting, let me know. I'm still gathering more information of what I think, you know, happened, so it was very fun. I like doing this. And I will have more information about the CCP when I come back tomorrow. Yeah, because maybe tonight actually, like 11 p.m. maybe. But yeah, join from your posts. Awesome. Thank you, Ginger. I like that name. But I'm going to be going now. I think my pizza has definitely cooled off by now. Alright guys, I will be back tomorrow. I promise. We're discussing these things again tomorrow. Spreading the word about MengLong. Trying to get, you know, make sure people get signatures for him, because that's the most important thing. Because like I said, Amnesty International and the AVAZ can definitely help. They have power. Don't underestimate them. They can definitely help out.